Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
But I will tell you, on behalf of the United States, I want to thank Turkey. I want to thank all of the people that have gotten together and made this happen. This is an incredible outcome. So you have a 22-mile strip that for many, many years, Turkey, in all fairness, they've had a legitimate problem with it. They had terrorists. They had a lot of people in there that they couldn't have. They've suffered a lot of loss of lives also.
Oh, my God.
And they had to have it cleaned out. But once you start that, it gets to be to a point where a tremendous amount of bad things can happen. So a process started, and we started to negotiate. And I think that obviously the sanctions and tariffs were going to be very biting. I'm glad we don't have to do it. We'll be taking them off very quickly as soon as this is finalized. But this is an incredible outcome. This outcome is something they've been trying to get for 10 years, everybody, and they couldn't get it. Other administrations, and they never would have been able to get it unless you went somewhat unconventional. I guess I'm an unconventional person. I took a lot of heat from a lot of people, even some of the people in my own party, but they were there. In the end, they were there. They're all there. Look, this is about the nation. This isn't about Republicans or Democrats. This is about our nation. So we have a 5-day ceasefire. During that 5 days, the Kurds and other people they're going to be taken great care of. They're going to be moving around, moving out of a safe zone, which is something that Turkey has always wanted.
Oh, my God.
The ISIS, they call them Daesh, but we call them ISIS. The ISIS fighters that we have captured, they'll be under very, very strict control of various different groups, but we will be watching. We will be in charge.
Various different groups will take care of ISIS. Various different groups, everybody. What could go wrong? The president has no idea what he's done. So here's what he did. He green-lighted Turkey to go in and start killing the Kurds. Turkey goes and starts killing the Kurds. Like I said, there were 185 Kurdish fighters already dead, 256, 71 civilians, if you ask one human rights organization. Another one says 218, all killed because Donald Trump gave a green light to Erdogan to do this. And then he declares victory by talking Erdogan into doing what Erdogan had been doing for all these years prior to giving Erdogan a green light to slaughter the Kurds. Swear to God, we've had this thing in place. It's called the security mechanism. It was an agreement that was in place with Turkey, our NATO ally, okay, for years and years, which is why the Kurds were able to operate from where they were living. That's why, because we had the security mechanism. So what is the security mechanism? It is the safe zone. It is the buffer zone between Syria and Turkey where the Kurds are. Donald Trump destroyed it. Told Erdogan he could go in there. Erdogan goes in there. Everybody starts screaming, you're going to have blood on your hands. You're going to have blood on your hands. And he says, all right, you know what? Give a pause. 120 days. Let the Kurds just go wherever. Let them just run away. Let them go wherever they want to go or wherever they can get to. And then you can go about, taking over that area. The security mechanism is something that we were there to make sure was upheld. And once he pulls out the troops that were there to make sure the security mechanism was in place, then we will have absolutely no ability to monitor anything Turkey does on the ground, much less enforce some sort of a permanent ceasefire. This is so sick. I'm telling you, the United States has now got to turn its back on the Kurds and tell the Kurds they need to flee and go somewhere to appease Erdogan. Now, one thing I just hope that will happen in these 5 days is, yesterday, Idiot Boy was sitting in the Oval Office and he was asked about the nuclear weapons that are stored in Turkey. And just in case you're not clear like what they are, these are nuclear weapons that are suitable for aircraft to take. Okay, that's what they are. They're old. They're called Jupiter missiles, all right? And they've been there for a really, really stinking long time. Since the Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, this is one of the things that JFK wanted out of the Cuban Missile Crisis was to put these weapons in Turkey. And so that's how long they've been there. So these weapons have been an unspoken, worst kept secret ever. And Idiot Boy Donald Trump admits that we have them there. Wouldn't it be an appropriate time, don't you think, for us to go get them and remove them? We used to have 90. I believe now there's 50. We took 40 of these missiles out during the W administration, during Bush. But I think that would be a good use. As long as the Kurds are going to, die, and there's nothing America can do for them, according to Donald Trump, wouldn't this be a good time to do something like get the nukes?
One of the things that has been exposed by the Turkey situation is that as many as 50 nuclear weapons are at Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. How confident are you of those weapons' safety?
We're confident, and we have a great air base there, a very powerful air base. That air base alone can take any place. It's a large, powerful air base. And Turkey, just so people remember, Turkey is a NATO member. We're supposed to get along with our NATO members. And Turkey is a NATO member. Do people want us to start shooting at a NATO member? That would be a first. And that's all involved having to do with NATO.
He's a sick man. He really is. He's twisted. Yes, Turkey's a NATO member because they didn't always have a dictator. Do you know what I'm saying? And they do now. And they have a murderous dictator. And they have a corrupt murderous dictator. You got a man who took bribes from Halkbank in order to launder money from illegal oil sales from Iran, who, by the way, is one of the beneficiaries of this Syria loss that the president is he's just willing to say, kill the Kurds. We'll have some various people taking ISIS. He said, we took the worst of ISIS. We took, that's a lie too. We didn't. We got half of the Beatles. We got 2 guys. He said, we took we didn't take anybody. He's just a lying sack of crap. And obviously the test was, would you turn your back on an ally so we can jump you into the dictator, autocratic, corrupt club known as, the Russian mafia? Here's the test. You got to betray an ally. You got to have them, you got to allow, them to get whacked. We need, we need some proof of loyalty from you. And this is it. This is it. So he can get cut in on the VIG. I mean, it's just so sick. It's so sad. It's just amazing. But here we have a situation where we had a security mechanism in place. Donald Trump green-lighted the end of it. Turkey totally went in there and started slaughtering people. Now they got 5 days it's like some Mad Max race, The Kurds just now have to, they got a head start. Run! Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.